Good morning once again, Ad Hoc, and it is your old pal Andrew here, and time for another walk and talk. It's a dreary day today, so that means two things. I've got a heavier jacket on to keep me nice and toasty, and the sun will not be in our eyes this time, so hopefully make the video a little bit easier to see. So today I'm going to talk all about screws. And screws come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and varieties, and I'm going to tell you as much as I can about screws in hopefully not an exceedingly long video. Probably the most common type of head that you'll see, this part up here, is a Phillips head. That is the plus sign. There are also bits of varying different shapes and sizes for different kinds of screws. As I drop stuff on the ground. So another most common that you'll probably find is flathead, and flatheads are also known sometimes as machine screws because machines are the ones that are most likely to install flathead screws. For some reason they're just precise enough to be able to do that. From there you can get a little bit fancier, and if you ever heard of pocket holes are usually done with square head screws, and pocket holes are really useful for beginner joinery because they're dead simple to install, but they do require a different type of head. And slightly less common, but you'll see it often enough if you work with computers, is what's called a Torx head screw. T-O-R-X, and these come in a 6-pointed star pattern, and you'll also see these sometimes in a Allen wrench setting where it's a hexagon all the way around, but I think they're both referred to as Torx screws. And you'll see Allen wrench heads, the hexagonal slots, very often with furniture making, because they give you a lot of torque when you turn the Allen wrench, and it allows you to get a very tight fit. But that's probably more common with bolts than it is with screws, but you'll see them every now and then. Contractors like to use Torx head screws a lot when they're doing things like framing and decking. Hold on a sec, big truck. And that's because the more points you have of contact between the screwdriver and the screw itself, the less likely you are to what's called capping out. And that is when the screwdriver loses its grip on the screw and starts spinning and around, and that's how you can end up getting stripped screw heads, is by capping out too easily. So a Phillips head is usually good enough for most things, especially if you're just doing some home repairs or installing like a cabinet and the hinges on the cabinet. But if you want something that you're going to do a lot of screwing over and over again, having something like a Torx head screw or even a square drive screw will give you better contact with the screw so that it's less likely to strip out while you're trying to screw it in. So one more thing that I'll tell you about. The other nice thing about having a heavy jacket is more pockets. There is a difference in the threads of different type of screws. Morning. So there is what's called a coarse thread, where the teeth of the screw are spaced farther apart, and coarse thread screws are really good for soft woods like pine, which is what a lot of people are going to be working with if they're doing beginner woodworking, or if you're making repairs around the house. You might use plywood, and plywood is considered a soft wood, so a coarse threaded screw is going to bite into that wood and hold in place better. But if you're working with a hardwood, you probably want something like a fine threaded screw, and the teeth are a lot closer together on a fine headed screw. and that is because a hardwood, the wood is so dense that you need more teeth to screw into it, and the density of the wood itself will hold that screw in place. So you don't need the coarse threads to bite into it and hold itself in place quite as easily. So those are the big differences there. One other thing that I'll show you about screws is if you've ever tried to screw two pieces of wood together, what you might end up with is a little tiny gap between the two pieces of wood, and no matter how much you turn that screw, the gap doesn't close. And the way you fix that is two things. One, you get a screw like this that has a flat taper at the top. And that allows it to spin more freely in that top piece of wood, and you can then drill. The second thing you do is you drill a pilot hole between the two pieces of wood. So then this one goes all the way through the first piece and it spins a little bit more freely, and that allows it to connect with the second piece of wood and bring them up and tightly together. So if you've ever dealt with gaps in your wood, get a tapered top and that should solve most of your problems. And of course, the number one tip I can give you for screwing things together is, when in doubt, drill a pilot hole. If you're not sure if you need a pilot hole, you probably need a pilot hole, especially if you are going to be drilling or screwing things together on the end of a board or the end of a sheet. If you're close to that edge, it's much more likely that you're going to split the wood if you try and screw something in, or even if you try and nail it in. Some people drill pilot holes for nails too, for that same reason. And a pilot hole is, all you do is you get a drill and a drill bit that's just slightly thinner than the width of your screw, drill a hole, and then screw your screw in. And that's pretty much all the tips I got for you today, all about screws. Hope you all have a good one and keep walking.